And that is our national anthem as we get set to start this fantastic game between two teams that know each other very well, but it's been a bit of a one-sided matchup over the years. It's the Austin Soul taking on the Dallas Roughnecks. Hi, everybody. I'm Charlie Eisenhood, joined by Alex Dougal and Dominica Sutherland in the booth. And the Austin Soul have yet to beat the Dallas Roughnecks. What would it take for a win today?
I mean, I think you have an idea where in the past, Dallas has had a lot of superstars come through the team. I mean, they had Jimmy Mickle, Dylan Freechild, they had Bo Kittredge for a year. And this year you don't really see that on the Roughnecks. Like, right now you see a lot more Texas-based names on this team. I think out of all of the years, this is definitely the year that we could see the Soul take down the Roughnecks.
Well, it is arguable in the first game they played in Dallas, they should have come home with that victory. And in that one, you could say Dallas stole a chance to go to overtime and ended up pulling it out. So we're hoping that Austin here, returning back to the hometown, can feel the crowd a little bit, come out on top of this matchup for the first time.
Well, it is a beautiful evening here in Austin, and we're at House Park Stadium, and it's a hot day, that's for sure. It's still, we're at past 7 p.m. here in Texas now, but still very, very warm out on the turf. It reached 93 degrees here at House Park Stadium, and we've got just a fantastic matchup on hand as, both teams missing a couple of key players today. Chris LaRock will be out. Thomas Slack will be out for the Roughnecks, and for the Soul, Matt Bennett won't be playing tonight, so Kira Thomas as well, Michael Natenberg, so some names to keep an eye on, but still plenty of star power on both of these teams and players we should be ready to watch. Who are some of the key contributors you expect to see make an impact on this game?
I think across the board, you can always see Chase Cunningham making a really big impact for the Soul. He's just got that really hard defensive intensity that really comes well on this D-line, and as well, he's just got the throws to make up for it. You saw Raleigh trying to talk about it a little bit when Raleigh came to Austin to play. They were trying to limit Chase's just impact on the game and didn't really seem to get a hold on that. And I think if Chase is really coming firing into this game, you're going to see a really good game for the Soul.
Yeah, Chase Cunningham leads the team in assists. He's got 26 assists on the season. He's tied for second in goals, so a big offensive horse out there for the Soul.
And he's been a really good balance to go with the old veterans playing on that offensive line. You got a guy like Chase Cunningham who goes out there throwing the scoobers and the hammers, making it work. I'm sure it's a little stressful for the coach, but he definitely makes it happen on that line.
Great crowd on hand tonight as the players take the line. Are getting set for some action here in the opening pull. Team still trying to stay warm on the sidelines after a bit of a long break between their warm-ups and this opening pull. So the tale of the tape here today. The Dallas Roughnecks sitting at 3-1. They're in second place in the South Division. Austin Soul 3-2. They are in fourth place, but in some ways, Austin's had the more impressive season. I know they have the loss to the Roughnecks on the road in Dallas, but they've got the win over the Raleigh Flyers. They also have the win over the Los Angeles Aviators, a team that really looked good out west. But I think the confounding thing is, what happened in Nashville last weekend?
I think it's a really big toss-up. You have them coming off a really hard-fought game in Atlanta the night before. I mean, they won by 1 point in Atlanta. And then they actually lost one of their players going in. They lost, oh my gosh, I'm forgetting his name. They lost DJ. They lost DJ going into the Atlanta game, or into the Nashville game. He actually was only there for the Atlanta game, and that probably didn't help the Soul.
Yeah, breaking up that chemistry they have on that offensive line. When you start taking some of those key guys out, you can imagine how that's going to have an effect. That's been one of the main things that's been helping Austin is the efficiency they had on offense every time they received the disc. I don't know that I've seen a consistent second offensive line. They really just run that one crew of guys, so I'm curious to see if that's going to be the same thing tonight or not.
See the Roughnecks out on the line. as we get set to start here with the sun getting a little bit closer to dipping below the horizon.
Right, we'll be happy when that drops down behind the stands.
Absolutely.
On the other side.
The fans already in full shade, so they are enjoying themselves.
Looks like Austin will be receiving off of this pool.
A little bit of a different O-line than we've seen from the Soul. Generally, we've talked about those key players that are out today, Kieran, Natenberg, and then Matt. Like, you don't see these players on this roster tonight, and that's generally the starting O-line you'd see from the Soul.
And we are ready for action here in Austin as the Roughnecks put up the opening pull, and we are underway. Pull lands around the 30-yard line. And the Soul begin this game on offense. Max Cook gets things started. And Kyle Henke coming underneath with a big gainer. Cook up ahead to Ethan Pollock, the big cutter. He's looking deep straight away. And he's got his man. It drops in for Michael Mathis in the Austin score.
Just really great movement for the Soul on that point. They really took large undercuts to really open that field up, which just let Mathis have all of that space to get that goal.
Right, Dallas coming out in a pretty predictable defense, not trying to give away the deep shot, giving all the undercuts, and you could see Austin taking advantage of that with first the Kyle Henke undercut, then the Ethan Pollock undercut, and eventually finishing off to Michael Mathis in the end zone.
So a nice start for Austin. Roughnecks O-line getting ready for the pull.
For the people watching at home, there is a slight breeze going left to right on your screen. Shouldn't affect play too much, but will make things a little bit interesting.
Brandon Malachek gets things started for the Roughnecks, hits Carson Wilder, goes up the line to Kai Marshall, one of the exciting young players on this Roughnecks team. Dalton Smith, and he throws the reset to Malachek. Malachek drops it, bounces off of his chest, and now a stoppage. It looks like an injury back down away from the disc. And it looks like it will be a substitution. Paul Starkle leaving the field. And so it will be Austin Disc here. Josh Zadrowski with it. He's marked by Dan Emmons. And Austin looking for the early break.
Coming out on their vertical stack, going to the front of the stack to start things off, but they weren't able to score from it. Looks like they're going to try and swing it around. It's not going to work out for them. Trying to get that easy score in the back. They're going to throw the hammer.
Carlos Vargas working with Mathis. Mathis thought about the hammer for sure, but looked it off. Elliot Moore inside forehand, and they've got a quick goal again. That's a quick 2-0 lead, and a nice start for the Soul. Zadrowski with the goal. Take another look.
That was just a really good inside look find from Moore. He's one of the really exciting young people on this team. You have the quote-unquote stench bros with him and Kyle Henke. They have their, sometimes you'll probably see it, they have this little dance that they like to do when one of the two of them does something good.
And is it a stench bro dance?
Oh yes, they like to wipe away the stench.
Pull goes up from the Soul. And the Roughnecks looking to get on the board. Pat Jackson reset to Smith. Swings around. And a nice pop out into space for Smith. Smith, forehand, looking for the end zone, but he overthrows Jay Frood. And Austin with another break chance coming up.
Right, I think we're going to see a lot of trouble from people trying to force those flicks into that corner. Like I said, there's not a whole lot of wind, but it does make that particular throw difficult. It's either going to sail up in the air or they're going to throw it too hard, and it's going to be a laser. That time it was thrown a little bit too hard. But it looks like they got a foul call.
Yeah, coming back. So the Roughnecks will take back over as Smith gets to reset with it.
There's the break flick throw back that same exact corner. This time they catch it.
And it drops in for the goal. So maybe a little of a lucky redo there for the Roughnecks, getting that one back. But they put in the score.
Yeah, just a really good find overall. I think Mechanix did a really good job of trying to just wind in and grab that throw in that corner. Like Alex said, that's going to be a really difficult throw, and it's going to be really interesting to see how the teams utilize it and how they take advantage of the wind. As he said, it's not that much of a factor today, but it always seems to add just a little bit of excitement to Ultimate. You never really know what the wind is going to do.
It's definitely been a little bit swirly in the stadium. We're coming off of a doubleheader. The Austin Torch, the women's team here, played against Columbia's Revolution at 5 o'clock. And now we're here for this game between the Soul and the Roughnecks.
Soul coming out with that same O-line that we saw at the beginning of the game. A real mix of their two O-lines that they've really been used to at the beginning of the season, but it seems to be working out. You have Cunningham coming in and really, oh, and there goes, speaking of
Cunningham.
He likes to throw.
Looking deep for Henke, and Henke's got it in double coverage.
Who's the first person running out to go celebrate with him? It's Elliot Moore.
I think we're going to see that as a really big theme during this game.
Yeah, nothing gets those two guys excited than one or the other doing something good.
Yeah, if you just take a look at this replay, just a really good backhand hook coming off of Chase Cunningham. It's really going to help. Austin has so many lefties on this field, and they really try to take advantage of it. Having that lefty backhand in this wind is always going to be a really big advantage, and Chase Cunningham loves to exploit that throw. Looks like we've got Zadrowski again coming up with this pull.
Roughnecks O-line getting set, and the pull is up. See the crowd on hand for this big matchup in the South. I mean, this is the kind of game that could swing playoff hopes later this season.
Yeah, I think honestly, without that loss to Nashville, you could see Austin in a very different position right now.
Absolutely. As the Roughnecks get it underneath to Marshall. And swing it around for Dalton Smith, and they go across. Now looking deep. Mechanix chasing, laying out, and he's got it.
And that's Mechanix's second goal of the game. And that flick coming from Carson Wilder, who's really been a really big impact on this Roughnecks team this year. He's actually a transfer from the Austin Soul, played the last 2 seasons with them, but now he's more based in the Tyler, Dallas area, so he's really looking to bring his talents to Dallas, and he's made a really big impact.
Great catch from Mechanix. So a high octane start to this one. 3-2, Austin out in front with the early break. But quick scoring, we already got 5 points on the board and still just about 9 minutes to play here in the first quarter.
Yeah, both teams are playing kind of standard offense and defense, looking to see which side is going to make a mistake first. Austin was able to get that one break and very smooth score off of it. See if they can do a similar thing. No turnovers here.
There you got Chase Cunningham back on this O-line for Austin.
Horizontal stack and an immediate deep shot from Cook, and great defense from the Roughnecks, but it's not going to work out as Pollock stays with the play and makes the catch. And then he throws into what ultimately is a great poach block from the Roughnecks.
Inky trying to milk that and get the score in the end zone. The defense just ran and stole it.
I don't think he saw the player coming from upfield. So the Roughnecks trying to break back.
Oh, we have Mathis in the deep space trying to help out. His teammate got buried. Oh, Mathis.
Huge double layout, but it's caught by Connor Olson for the Roughnecks. Mathis putting pressure. He dishes it back to Griffin Miller, and now a double team from Austin. and a whistle, and looks like a timeout taken by the Roughnecks.
Pretty good call there. You have Griffin Miller, who's not necessarily known for his great throws for the Roughnecks. And it's just a good call in that double team. You have two really tall guys.
Right, and you have your D-line out there for Dallas, and now they're able to make some switches, substitutions, get an easy reset right near the end zone.
So that brings us to this timeout, the Austin leading 3-2. And teams talking it over in their respective huddles. A great chance here for the Roughnecks to put their O-line out there and try to punch in this break, tie it up.
Yeah, you see the classic O-line players out there for Dallas. You have Dylan Lardberg, you Dalton Smith, you have Brandon Malachek, Jay Frood, all just stalwart players for the Roughnecks. For the past couple of seasons, even with all the big names running through, I mean, arguably Dalton Smith is a huge name in Ultimate, and just having him as a staple on this Roughnecks team has definitely helped them out.
Yeah, they may not have quite the same star power factor as when they had Jimmy Mickle and Bo Kittredge on the team, but the youth movement has been a big part of the Roughnecks since they won the championship 2 years ago. And they don't look like they've taken a huge step back despite losing some of the guys that we just mentioned. So whistled back into play. Malachek looking to the front of the end zone, and he's got an easy, quick score. Dallas punches in the break. And that's easy work for the Roughnecks O-line.
Yeah, just classic movement here. You see Malachek looking to break it off right away, didn't have that throw, and Dylan Lardberg just gets that cut right off the bat.
Nice move from Lardberg.
Former teammate Brian Grafera trying to get that layout D on him. They played together for Texas Tough. Brian's actually graduating at the end of this year, part of that team that really shocked everybody and is making it to nationals. No one really thought that was going to happen, and here they are taking that lone South Central men's bid.
That's absolutely right, and the college championships just a couple weeks away now, over Memorial Day weekend in Milwaukee. And lots of players on these teams will be in attendance for their college programs.
Speak of the devil, right there, Noah Chambers was a real big effort for Texas Tough, gets that D on Orlov, and Dallas looking to break again.
So Dallas working it, and a whistle. And unclear what the call is here, maybe a foul on the mark. Waiting for a signal from the referee, and maybe looks like it's going to be a 10-yard penalty against Dallas. So the disc moving backwards for the Roughnecks. Perhaps a travel called there by the referee. Whistled back into play. Roughnecks looking to go back-to-back breaks.
Ooh, they go
deep shot, and it's hauled in.
And that's the bookends for Noah Chambers. Got that D on Orlov to start, and then reeled in that throw from Dylan Lardberg.
All right, we can see the Dallas bench is pumped, running onto the field, high-fiving everybody. They're feeling momentum swing at the moment.
We're going to take a quick break. Right after this replay, great catch from Chambers on the bookends, and Dallas takes the 4-3 lead. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back. Welcome back to House Park Stadium, where the Roughnecks have just scored back-to-back breaks to take a 4-3 lead over the Austin Soul. We're in the first quarter here, and it's just been a couple of little miscues here and there for the Soul, and really nice offense after the turnover from the Roughnecks that have put them in this spot.
Yeah, I think after Austin really came out with those breaks, you see Dallas really coming into their own now and really trying to pressure the Austin Soul, and they've been doing a really good job.
So Austin back on offense. No mark initially. Not able to do much with it, but now they hit Cook. Cook hits Orloff on the strike cut. A little bit of physicality there. And a nice bounce through Henke. Lewis back to Cook and to Mathis. Mathis puts up a big forehand, kind of missed the target a little bit, but it might work out. Oh, what a catch on the far side. My goodness. How about that way to tie it up?
I would say that's really remarkable, but I've seen it from Kyle Henke. You saw it in that buzzer beater against LA. This man loves to make big plays, and he loves to bail out his teammates.
He's dusting off his red cape once again to catch that one in the corner. Mathis that was not his original intended target. I believe he was looking for Ethan Pollock in the back. But once the wind caught a hold of it, that just didn't flatten out like it needed to. Kyle Henke was there to bail him out.
Even the camera guys thinking that one was for Pollock, and really it was for Pollock. But it sailed and it sat up just enough, and then Henke with an amazing grab. Keeps his toes in bounds, ties it up at 4. Pull goes up here from Zajowski.
And this is the D line that got the D and the score the first time around. So we're going to see if they can also be that solid if they can get a turnover here.
This getting brought to the brick mark for the Roughnecks. Side stack look with an ISO.
Zadrowski with that really big mark on Malachek, making him second think that hook to Wilder.
Gainer underneath for Marshall. He pumps the backhand huck and opts for the under. Chambers. Low pass, doesn't stay up in the air, and the Soul will get an opportunity here with 5.5 to go in the first. Little pop pass over the top.
It's good to see Starkle back in the,
And another throw into a poach. So the Roughnecks have been getting some opportunistic blocks, and the Soul's break chance goes wrong. Malachek working for the Roughnecks. Air bounce backhand, big layout from the Soul. Matt Jackson swings across for Smith. And Smith's pass is off the mark, and the Soul take back over. Their second chance on this possession. Wouldn't be surprised to see a timeout coming here. Big huck, looking to the end zone, but not quite there. Jadowski going after that one, but couldn't quite catch up to that huck out in front.
Yeah, I think we're going to see if the Soul can get another turnover. The coach is going to be rushing on the field to call a timeout. He's probably second-guessing himself on that decision.
Maybe 2 timeouts per half in the AUDL. Very precious because you can make those substitutions. Dallas working. Jackson swings to Malachek. He puts up the backhand. Double coverage, but a great catch from Frood, who had space. And it's now a 3-on-3 for the Roughnecks if they hurry. But nothing doing. Marshall has to wait for the reset and gets it off. And Foul ultimately after the contact on the backhand
It
fake.
almost looked like he was going for a little nutmeg there.
Right, that's a professional move if I've ever seen one.
Draws the foul.
Definitely.
And now gets the easy backhand score. And so Dallas goes back in front 5-4. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with you for the remainder of the first quarter in just a moment. Make sure you adjust your mic. Someone's breathing, like notes breathing into the mic. I don't know who it is. I can't just hearing it. But you guys are too. If you need to, you can move it down a little bit. Like have it, or angle it down so that. Welcome back to House Park. 5-4 Roughnecks here in the first quarter. It's been a back and forth game. Breaks for both teams. Roughnecks taking a little 3-0 run to take the lead. And a couple of chances for Austin on that last point. And what went wrong for them there?
I think you honestly just saw some miscommunication coming from the Soul. They thought they had it. They just didn't seem to get those good throws and catches off.
Yeah, we've seen them throw into a couple of Dallas poaches. Some were Dallas defenders in good spots. Others were Dallas defenders just getting to the right place, staying with the play. And it will be a midfield 50-yard line for Max Cook and the Soul. Cunningham finds Pollock. Now dish back to Cook. Big targets on this offensive line. Cook with a great strike cut, and wow, efficient offense as Roy Orloff gets into the end zone for Austin, and they get a quick score to tie it up.
I think you saw Dallas trying to get them on that end zone or on that sideline to start off the point, but the blade just rocked its way out of bounds instead of really trying to get that roller out. Pretty interesting play. But overall, really good movement from the Soul. Saw Ethan Pollock with that nice throw to Cook that just sets up that dish to Orloff.
Big crowd on hand today. And it's a great night for some Ultimate. And Dallas back underway. Smith working in the backfield with Malachek, and a big gainer for Smith. Look at him milk that pass, and now he fires the forehand, and it's connects. A low pass, but Matt Jackson able to get there, and it just avoids the defense, and then it's an easy dish score. And Dallas goes back up in front, 6-5.
Guarantee you John Cecil thought he was going to be able to get to that one. That throw was not very pretty. It was a laser. Didn't fly the way he wanted it to, but that last moment, that dive, just couldn't quite get to it.
Yeah, but just a really good find by Matt Jackson. You see him on the end of a lot of Dalton Smith's hucks. Just someone that Smith really seems to trust to reel in his lasers.
So a back and forth battle here in the first quarter. 2.5 to go.
Cook centering with the disc, trying to find an option, ends up resetting the disc. It's back to Cook.
And now that players having to deal with the increasing shadows can be a little tricky for making catches at times. Cunningham back to Cook. Takes the quick bounce back to Cunningham. Pollock near side. Good defense downfield from Dallas. Cunningham steps into a big forehand. It's going to hang out there. There'll be a lot of players underneath this one. But it's Austin that comes down with the score. Michael Mathis hauls it in.
Looks like we might have an injured soul on the play. There was a big collision in that end zone. Looks like it might be Kyle Henke down.
And you hate to see that.
Kyle Henke's really been a big young asset to this team. Right after he caught that game winner in LA, he actually drove straight back to Waco to play in sectionals for his college team, Texas Tech, and ended up catching the game winner on ultimate point to send them to regionals. And so he's really just a workhorse on the field.
Good to see him back on his feet. Soul will certainly be wanting to have him later in this one. Take another look at the Mathis catch. And he just tracks it the whole way.
Mathis was in the best position to read that one and go and snag it. You can see with Chase, he had a few resets, and eventually you know he's going to throw up one of those deep throws. And that time he faked the backhand, threw the left-handed flick down the line, and it caught into that wind like we've been talking about, making it difficult to score on the end zone on the left side of your screen.
Drzdowski with the pull. It'll be Malachek receiving the centering pass. Wilder. Near side Marshall, and a miscommunication there with Frood. And a good chance here with not too much time left in the quarter for the Soul to get back in front. High release backhand across. Connects with Drzdowski. Takes the big swing reset. And now the forehand huck. And that's money. And that's what the crowd wants to see as he gets hauled in for the go-ahead score for the Soul.
That's Andrew Walsh coming down with the score, or affectionately known by most Soul players as Walsh Claw. You see him go up in that, right here in this replay, you see him go up with that two-handed claw grab. It's really what he's been known for to these Soul players, and they've nicknamed him appropriately for that.
And he's been a fixture of Austin Ultimate for a long time. And just quietly so effective out there on that defensive line. And Austin back in front now with plenty of time left in the quarter here. Over a minute to play for the Roughnecks to get another score, or maybe even a couple of scores away. This game is gone. So another bricked pull. The wind still swirling a bit as the sun heads towards the horizon.
See this same Dallas O-line out here trying to get some movement going, and a big layout D there from Brian Bafera.
A great block, setting up potentially another break, but immediately Austin gives it back. Poor pass there from Brian Purcell. And with 40 seconds to go, now a bit of urgency for the Roughnecks. Backhand force from Austin. Smith throws one up ahead and kind of ends up in no man's land with that pass. Looked like he was trying to find Frood, but threw it too high, and now it's timeout on the field. Austin wants to talk about it and probably put the offense out there.
Yeah, you definitely think that Bigley's out there going, I want this break. I want to go out of the first quarter up 2 on this Roughneck team. And as we saw when they played last, every point really matters when it comes down to the end of this game. It's probably going to be tight the entire way through, so any break you get is really going to matter to these teams.
Well, Austin, has come close so many times. They just haven't been able to close the door on this Roughnecks team since these teams entered the AUDL in 2016. And of course, the Roughnecks won the championship that year with all of the big free agent signings that they made. I mean, it was a crazy powerhouse team. And there was a lot of expectations that they might do it again last year, but it was not to be as the Roughnecks lost in the semifinals. But this Austin team has yet to make the playoffs. And part of the reason for that is that they just have to play this Roughnecks team 3 or 4 times every season, and those losses pile up.
Yeah, it was really unfortunate to see a lot of the Soul players always seem to have a little bit of chip on their shoulder because of that. They know they're a good team, and they just seem to have that unlucky draw. The first year they played them 4 times, and it just was a battle and pretty brutal every time.
So they put some time back on the clock here. And a high pass is tipped, and maybe thought we might see a foul call there on some contact, but it's not to be. So the Roughnecks now with, as I get ready to say it, they turn it over themselves. So some sloppy play from both teams, but 15 seconds left here and a chance still for the Soul if they can get it down the field.
And no one is marking Cunningham.
Cunningham's got the power to put it down the field from here, but he would be throwing into a headwind.
Well, the clock stopped.
So the clock has stopped, you're right, with 15 seconds on the clock.
Oh, and now it's counting again.
As that pass goes across the field.
Looks like Austin might just be happy it takes to half.
And with time expiring, that pass will not even make it to past the 40-yard line. So that brings us to the end of the first quarter. And the score, Austin 7, Dallas 6. We're going to take a break here as we get set for coming into this second quarter. So we will be back in just a moment here from House Park Stadium. Stay with us. Welcome back to House Park Stadium, where the Austin Soul have a 7-6 lead at the end of the first quarter, leading the Dallas Roughnecks from just down the road. And a great crowd in attendance tonight for this highly anticipated South Division matchup. What do you guys think of the first quarter? Pretty back and forth. We saw some runs from both teams. We saw some missed opportunities from both teams. What do you think, Alex?
Right. I would say there's really no key themes other than every point matters in this matchup. We really couldn't see any key trends from either side. There were a few throwaways from Austin. Similarly, from Dallas, they had a few misconnections in some of their throws. But in general, as soon as there's been a turnover, the other side has been able to put in the score with their D-line. So I think it's really important coming out here in the second quarter to see which side can come out and get that quick break and try to jump up ahead.
Yeah, I think Alex is exactly right. When you have a team, 2 teams that just know each other so well, you're really going to run into a lot of these things where every point is going to matter.
Absolutely, and we've seen that so far. Feels like it's a razor's edge separating these 2 teams. And given the, the flow of talent between them, perhaps that makes sense. As we get ready to begin this second quarter, Austin and Dallas each with 1 timeout remaining. And it will be Dallas starting on offense here in this second quarter. Immediately looking deep. Forehand is on the money, drops in, and a smooth score for Carson Wilder and the Roughnecks.
Really not much resistance there from Austin Soul. They were backing their guys, the ISO in the middle of the field. And with 2 cuts, Dallas was able to run their offense pretty standard, exactly how they have it drawn up, and get a quick score.
Yeah, you just see Ty Marshall just get that good under and just float a dime out for Carson Wilder, who just reels that in right past the Austin Soul defender. Not really much you can see the defender doing other than bid through his body, so.
Right, if you're going to throw it that well, we've seen one from each squad. We saw a throw to Mathis in the same sort of spot on the same side of the field. Both sides showing good offense going downwind.
So the Soul chasing this one down. Pollock gets the gainer up ahead to Walsh, playing an 0 point here. Cunningham, that lefty's so dangerous, but this time he throws into the path of a poach. Griffin Miller for the Roughnecks breaking it up.
Yeah, it almost you saw the same offensive set from Dallas that you saw from Austin on that point.
But they give it back. A pass a bit behind the receiver, and now a little backhand to the front cone, and it's an easy score for Austin.
You can see the Dallas player is a little mad on that one. He probably thought there was a foul. From up in the box, it looks like he just dropped it, but down the field, I'm sure he must have got a hand hit on there. He would not be that mad about it.
Let's take a look. That pass, those calls aren't usually going to go your way in the AUDL.
Right,
You got to see some serious contact to get that call with the disc about 5 feet behind the intended target.
In college, you can call a foul on that one and go back and reset things, or in club, you can call that. But in the AUDL, the refs aren't going to call them that easy.
And there may have been some contact there, but was it the contact that caused that play to be a missed connection? I don't know. So Austin holding this 1 point advantage. Malachek with it for Dallas. Jackson takes the backhand. Now hits the backhand. Immediately gets it back and goes for the swing. Nearly blocked by the Soul. And a completely uncovered Roughnecks receiver hauls in the score. So a miscommunication down on the other end, and Dalton Smith gets an easy goal.
Yeah, I think most people aren't used to seeing Dalton Smith ejecting downfield, but he can be just as effective in the air downfield as he can be in the handler set, and I just don't think his defender was ready for it.
Right, the Austin Soul defender just stood there and started trotting back to the sideline after the throw got put up, because he was not expecting them to throw that back corner end zone throw.
Good game so far. Lots of scoring.
This is a second attempt at that roller pool, and it went about as far as the first one, just about half field. I don't know if the intention is just to get it on the sideline or to try to make it all the way down the field, but here they come out in the double team.
Immediate double team, and Stahl getting high, could have paid dividends. Crossfield hammer is broken up, so Dallas with the roller pole double team combination, and Ben Rogers making the play downfield gets them a break chance.
You don't normally see zone type looks in the AUDL, but that was a very successful one. And now the D-line gets a good opportunity.
Dylan Larberg looking deep. Big bid, but not enough from Ben Lewis. So Austin will get it back, but a great chance there for Dallas. This one drops in safely.
Rory Orloff is still open, streaking down the field, but they're not going to be able to get it to him.
And another takeaway block on an under from the Roughnecks. Great defense. Henry Ferruta gets that one, but a layout block on the mark from Michael Mathis takes it back for Austin. Double team from Dallas. We got a lot of action here. Stahl getting high, and a Scuba is tipped, and then, oh, was it caught or was it down? It's called. We're waiting for a call from the referees, and the trailing ref calls it down. The ref right in front of that play didn't make a call, so he was calling it up. And so some disagreement from the referees. And now we're waiting for some clarity about what's going to happen with this disc.
From the looks of it, it looks like it's staying with Dallas.
Well, it's definitely staying with Dallas, but they're also instituting a 10-yard penalty against Austin.
Right. I almost think they were calling it unsportsmanlike.
For trying to make it seem as though he had caught that disc. Larberg holding here for Dallas in now what is a red zone possession, looking for the go-ahead score, but it's dropped. Wow.
Makes you wonder if he should have got 2 hands on that catch, but he thought it was coming in hot, so he
yeah,
tried to snag it.
You got to go Walsh claw there, but Austin gives it back the other direction. And it will be Larberg picking up for Dallas. So a big, long, turnover-filled point with a lot of back and forth, and now a quick double team from Austin. They drop out of it and look back to it. The double teams don't work so well when you don't have the resets covered up. And now I believe we have a timeout called by the Roughnecks, and they want to talk about this one.
You can tell Dylan Lardberg was upset with his coach for calling that. He's like, I got the hammer off. Like,
right. You can't take that back.
I think it's more about the fact that they'd had 4 or 5 turnovers at that point on this point.
Yeah, you can't blame the coach for calling the timeout on that one.
Yeah.
So a chance now for Dallas to get some fresh legs in there, get some offensive players in, and try to retake the lead. Both teams have been ahead at points in this game.
See Austin taking advantage of this, putting in their D-line as well. Both teams doing full substitutions.
Now you see number 5 there, Jay Fruit, hasn't been too involved in this game yet, and he's a guy that I think Dallas is going to need to kind of step up and have a bit of a bigger impact in the second half. He leads the team in assists with 13, and it's just he's a great player, but a quiet game for him so far.
Yeah, it's hard for a player like Jay Fruit. You always are used to seeing him making those big plays, and when he's really just quiet and not really super involved, you kind of wonder what's going on and why he's not so involved in the game. Hopefully we'll see some bigger plays from him as the game goes on.
So getting ready to come out of this timeout. It's Malachek, he hits the under. Now Frood looking deep. Defense there, but it doesn't matter. It's caught, and it's a score. So Dallas takes the lead on the big huck from Frood. He dials up the assist right as we say his name. And not the perfect throw there, but good enough to get the goal. Let's take another look.
Yeah, just great positioning from Kevin Richardson. He knew the defender was coming in hot, and he knew he was going to have to get a little physical, honestly, in that catch and make sure his body got there first. And he does a really good job bodying out the Austin defender and get up to catch that score.
Max Cook, the shortest player on the line, but he's been one of their most effective offensive players here today. And
he's been one of those old, experienced handlers working the offensive lines.
I believe we have an offsides here against Dallas, so it'll be midfield start for Austin.
You can definitely see Austin feeling some of those losses that they have at the moment on the offensive line, not having Kerry Thomas, not having Jeff Loss scoring. Michael Nadenberg.
Ethan Pollock tangles up with his defender, but ends up coming away with the disc. Goes back to Cook. Pollock gets free on the strike cut. And now they connect downfield, finding Cunningham. Big lefty goes break back to the middle. Comes around to Mathis. And a whistle.
Yeah, definitely a pick in the middle.
10-yard penalty against the Soul.
You can see very physical matchups from the cutters and the defenders. This is what you get when you have two teams that know each other very well. They're going to get extremely close to each other when guarding.
And you see that pass, looking for the reset and some confusion and maybe the stall count putting some pressure, and a turnover in midfield after starting at the 50-yard line on this point after the Dallas offsides. And another whistle, and looks like another pick call from the referee, so it'll be a 10-yard penalty here against the Roughnecks.
Looks like a little delayed of a call. It's going back 2 throws to Matt Jackson.
So back into play. Now a quick shot coming out of the stoppage to the end zone, and Chris Larberg makes the play, and he helps his friend up off the field. And so no anger after the contact there between him and Chase Cunningham. And we're going to take a quick break here as the Roughnecks go up by 2. It's 10-8, 6:42 to go in the second. (10-8) Roughnecks lead here in Austin. Coming away with a break just there on a great catch. Chris Larberg coming down with it in the end zone. And we're working our way through this second quarter. Great action back and forth. And another roller pull from Dallas. And this one creeps along the boundary and won't go out of bounds. So a chance for some easy yardage for Austin.
Yeah, although that pull went down a little farther, they didn't get the double team set up like they had the previous times they ran that roller pull. So with this, Austin Soul is able to get the disc in the middle of the field to start running their standard offense.
Jared Wolf hits Ryan Purcell. And now not quite into the end zone, working on the goal line. And a diving catch in the end zone for the score. It's John Cecil gets the goal.
Great play there from Purcell to really get that disc before the assist. There seemed to be a lot of traffic around that, and he really got in there and then dished that to Cecil. Yeah, you can see the replay right here. Purcell really coming out of nowhere to get past Larberg, and then that great bid from John Cecil for the score.
Yeah, Cecil's been putting in work in the gym, and now he gets to see it pay off at a highlight snag, getting full horizontal to catch that in the end zone.
Yeah, I think Sold Out, the friendly podcast video group for the Soul released a video where everyone tried to name the most athletic person on the team, and almost unanimously, everyone named John Cecil. He is just an absolute workhorse.
And you can see why on that play. Maybe a little extra showboat on that one.
A little, yeah, you could argue that.
I mean, when you got the crowd.
Right.
Frood bombs a forehand. Looking for Richardson, and he's got it. Oh, man.
That one was not gratuitous.
Beautiful play.
I feel like Frood heard us earlier. He was like, well, they talked about me not being enough yet, and I guess I should get some assists in the game now. And he's really placing these absolute dimes right there for Richardson.
You can see it here, just perfectly weighted, and really that's a run-of-the-mill layout for Kevin Richardson. I mean, don't get me wrong, that's a great play, but it's a very good throw from Frood.
Right, they're making that throw look easy because with the wind going in the direction of the throw, it's hard to make those float up there. We've seen a couple get overthrown going that direction right of your screen, and that one was placed just perfectly to get a highlight layout.
This one dead down the center. Austin will take over at the 30-yard line.
Running a little isolation, getting Rory Orloff open. He has Hinkie in the deep space, and there goes the deep shot.
And that's just a perfect pull play to the back of the end zone. What a shot from Orloff, and Henke runs it down.
I've really been amazed how both teams have had a lot of success hitting that right side of your screen end zone. We've seen probably about a 50% success rate going to the left side of your screen, going upwind, but for these downwind throws, they've been able to make them float and sit just on the other side of the defense, making it very easy for the cutters to run full speed and catch it.
Yeah, you see here, just Orloff hitting Hinkie in stride. It was just perfectly placed past the defender. Kyle Hinkie not having to do any work except just really kick it into gear and get that down.
And he does not look any worse for wear after the injury earlier, as he kind of hobbled off the field, but worked it out on the sideline, back in there catching goals.
Right, he's young, he's a college kid. He'll be good to go, no problem.
Resilient. Roughnecks still lead. 5:35 to go. Second quarter. Malachek catches the pull. A little vertical stack look from the Roughnecks. Matt Jackson looking deep, but not there.
See a good switch from the Soul in the deep space.
Roughnecks really making sure they use the width of this field to get the disc down the field.
They've been trying to find that open continue in the deep space, and it hasn't quite been there, so they've been happy just to swing around, hit the front of the stack, get the easy resets.
Malachek, near side for Wilder. He puts up the IO backhand huck, and that's an easy score for the Roughnecks.
You could see Purcell look at his teammates after that. He was not expecting that throw to come from that side of the field. He didn't even really put any energy trying to go down there and get the D on it, because he was banking on his teammates to block that throw, and did not help him out.
Kai Marshall with the goal.
Yeah, you just see here this easy throw to Carson Wilder, and Carson Wilder makes it look like absolutely nothing, putting that touch on the disc to Kai Marshall.
Right, that's an inside-out backhand that he managed to float into the corner on the fourth side of the field.
Yeah, no chance for the defender on that one. So the Roughnecks holding this 2-point advantage. Going back to the down the center pull. Max Cook walking to the disc for Austin. Cunningham. Cook slips, so Cunningham has to look away from the reset, and he just puts it up to the end zone. And that'll work.
Yeah,
why not?
That's not a bad idea. You got Kyle Hickey in the deep space, one-on-one, the 50-50 shot. Go for it.
You just gotta see Cook and Cunningham looking at themselves, going like, I mean, if it works, it works. Henke with the great field awareness you'll see on this replay. Cunningham originally wanted Cook, but Cook actually tripped on the reset. He's like, well, it's a high stall count. And he just boots it, and Kyle Hinkey's there.
Great shot from Cunningham. Roughnecks O-line.
It'll be really interesting to see if Seoul can get back in this game, get a couple breaks.
And so far we've seen the O-lines trade points the past couple of points. Not sure if Austin's going to be able to come out and get a nice layout D like they had a few early on.
Disc comes to the near side. Marshall looking deep. It's staying along the sideline, though, and a greatest attempt. Not sure whether that was inbounds or not, but it looks like it won't matter. Ref calling it in, so they'll continue play from there.
It was a really good throw. It's one of the better, greatest attempts I've seen in a while.
Looking the other way. One-on-one coverage, great defense from the Roughnecks. And the bigger body, Marshall, getting the block.
And we can see Andrew Walsh coming off with what looks like a calf cramp.
Walks off under his own power, but indeed will have to take the substitution.
Now Dallas coming out in their vertical stack that they like to run. See a cut from the back, very physical. I'm sure that's how they like it.
Malachek finds Frood. Frood, another forehand. Woo. Look at the power on the forehand. Unbelievable. An easy score for Dalton Smith, and Dallas back up by 2.
And he scores that over his roommate, Carlos Vargas. That shows you just how closely intertwined these teams are.
And it's a 13-11 lead for the Roughnecks. We're going to take a break. We'll be back in just a moment for the conclusion of the first half. Stick around. I mean, that's a wind-aided throw.
Right.
Welcome back. 13-11 lead for the Roughnecks after another fantastic Jay Frood forehand huck. And we are getting ready to close out this first half. High-scoring game. And plenty of time for both teams still to get on the board a couple of times.
And we see Austin coming out with the O-line they've been running pretty much this whole game. They seem to have settled into a group that they like. And we're going to see if this pays off for them. They're coming out in their ISO, where they try to get one person open in the middle. This next person is Kyle Hinkey. He's trying to get open here.
And the Hinkey doesn't get open. They look for the reset and they turn it over. And now the Roughnecks have a chance to take their largest lead of the game. Low backhand to the front cone. Goal, Roughnecks. Zach Marbach.
Really interesting decision. The Solos always seem to have Max Cook just leading up from the handler set on that O-line. And in that respect, you saw him kind of shift into the stack. And you got to wonder what made them decide to do that decision when Max Cook has just been absolutely controlling this O-line. And here you see the score. Just a great fast movement play from the Roughnecks right off that turn.
And that's really been the theme from both sides. Both groups are looking for those mistakes and to punch it in afterwards. We've seen really high successful conversion rates for both sides after the turnovers. And it looks like they're keeping mostly the same O-line right after the last one.
So Cook again takes the centering pass. And some important points coming up here for Austin.
He's kind of hung out there with no easy dump reset. Good thing you got Kyle Henke in the back.
Henke's been getting open in that deep space, and now he throws the assist as he caught the goal on the doorstep. And so Austin scores to bring it back within 2.
Just really quick, easy movement from the Soul there. Just trying to get their feet underneath them again on this O-line.
And you can see when they have the throws to put it out into the space, those cuts are there. And if you can catch Dallas, they're going to guard either the deep cut or the undercut. And if you catch them out of position with a good throw, you can take advantage of it. And that's what Max Cook did, holding the disc in the middle of the field for a long time before finding Kyle Henke open.
Let's see if we can see the same power that really Dallas seems to be harnessing in their D-line, in this Austin D-line.
This is the one that has had some success so far this game. We've seen some layout Ds from this crew.
Malachek double teamed, but no problem getting rid of it. Finding Marshall. Back to Malachek. Smith comes underneath. He's got a deep cutter, decides to look it off, and instead throws the break backhand, and now a shot down the field, and great body positioning on the other side from Marshall, and it's another score for the Roughnecks. They've been unstoppable in this last few points.
Yeah, just Marshall really got that positioning on Cunningham. He never really seemed to have a chance on that disc. Here you can see the replay of it coming down. You just see Wilder just rip that flick to the end zone, and just Marshall bodied out Cunningham for an easy grab for the score.
Chase tried the best he could, go around behind him, get a running start, try to jump up and over, but yeah, too much body position, too much strength, going 2 hands to get the snag.
Austin trying to keep it close as the first half winds down. Comes to Cook. And some quick motion from Michael Mathis. Orloff has a tip off his fingertips, and now it's a short field opportunity for Dallas.
Unfortunately, that wind just knocked it away from him after he tipped it.
And a cross-field pass, and it drops in. Goal Roughnecks, 4-point lead, their largest of the game.
Yeah, it's really not a whole much difference in the play style or caliber from either team, but just some of those simple mistakes with both sides being hungry to take advantage. And here we see Dallas doing what they need to on the past 2 turnovers to get the scores.
Noah Chambers with another goal.
Yeah, you see this pass here come up from Sam Ward. Almost looked like it was going to get D'd a couple times on the way over, and just managed to sail right into the hands of Noah Chambers on the other side of the field.
There were 2 Austin Soul players looking to get that, including Michael Mathis, who always loves a Sports Center highlight. And that time, he didn't launch.
And it feels like those passes have been picked off by Dallas when Austin throws them. And that one just was a seeing eye throw that just weaved through about 6 different players on its way for the score.
Let's see if we, oh, and another miscommunication here from the Soul.
Right, nobody picking it up.
Things a little out of sorts, trailing by 4. Looking deep. This one's right into the teeth of the defense.
There's a 2-on-1 back there.
Great body from Cunningham and a whistle.
2 former teammates really going to go at it right now, Dan Emmons and Chase Cunningham.
And Cunningham can't believe that he's getting called for something, and it's going to go back?
I guess. It looks like it. Yeah, Purcell's picking up the disc again.
Right, so they're going to be calling the foul on Chase, which is why he immediately looked to his old friend to call it off.
But it's coming back, and the clock has been running here. I'm not sure if that's intentional by the referees or if there was some confusion. But the clock will stop now with 1:16 remaining.
I think we lost a good 20, 30 seconds off that clock during the confusion. So it'd be interesting to see when they add the time back. In our doubleheader earlier with the torch, they decided to add it on after the point. So we'll see where we seem to go with this one.
So I think they're just going to take the 10-yard penalty. They're not going to add time back to the clock here. A chance for the Roughnecks to go up by 5 after a first half that seemed to be going in Austin's direction. And Dallas has just taken command here in the late part of the second quarter.
Right, I can remember when it was 8-8 and we were talking about who's going to be making that next step. Dallas went up 10-8 after that.
And there's the D. Looks like an unintentional D from Richardson on the Soul.
So a break for the Soul, and they did add some time to the clock ultimately. So now about 1:10 to go, and Austin knocking on the door. Brendan Adams swings it back to Cunningham. Cunningham looking for a reset and finds Grafrera, and then back to Cunningham.
Chase seems to be calling his shot. I think he wants to put something in there.
And he does, but it's a drop. The pass maybe a bit too tight to the sideline.
We can see Chase motioning, saying, yep, that's my bad.
So enough time here still for Dallas to score.
Looks like Griffin Miller from the Roughnecks is calling an injury on that one.
That'll give Austin an opportunity to also sub in a player, which they're going to take advantage of. And I see Purcell coming out for, I believe, Andrew Walsh.
Not a bad substitution for either team. Dalton Smith came in for Miller and Walsh in for the Soul. Two pretty big names for both teams.
If we've learned anything from watching AUDLs this season, there's a lot of buzzer beaters happening.
And that double team paid off for Chase Cunningham. It almost didn't.
And we're going to get a timeout from Austin? I believe so. Yep, we get a timeout from Austin here. They're going to put on their offensive players, try to give us an exciting finish to this first half.
So there's been some clock shenanigans. They added some time back to the clock. It's now stopped with 38 seconds. And the timeout, of course, stops the clock. So Austin, plenty of time, 38 seconds to put in a score. Now there's 41. Oh, they've added more time. So
they're really...
The clock management has been interesting here in Austin.
we saw some interesting things if you tuned into the Ultra World live stream for Austin Torch versus the Colombian Revolution. At one point, it just seemed like 40 seconds got added to the clock for some reason. We couldn't really figure it out. And now it seems to be carrying over into this Austin Soul Roughnecks game.
Yeah, you never know when those 3 seconds are really going to matter. In professional Ultimate, that's what stops the play.
So you see Max Cook standing over the disc. And a great opportunity for the Soul to get one back. And at this point, I think they'll be glad to be going into halftime only down by 3.
Right, if they're able to capitalize here. We can see Chase Cunningham on the far cutter position. I believe that's the person they're eventually going to look to get it to after a few ISO short throws through the middle. You can see Mathis cutting in to begin with. They don't like that. See Ethan Pollock going deep. They don't like that one either, and they have to reset.
So they go around the horn with the resets to Mathis.
Having trouble gaining yards. They're getting the swings, but not the continues.
Pollock gets it over to Henke.
Chase Cunningham is open to the deep space, and they do put it to him.
Henke looking for Cunningham, and Cunningham just doesn't quite have enough speed to get to that one. And now it's going to have to be a race for the Roughnecks.
All right, 13 seconds, but the clock won't start until he releases the disc, so that does give him time to run up there.
So a double team. Clock starts.
Got it off very easily and very quickly.
And Pollock
now Austin's got time.
Able to pick it off. 2 seconds left. Max Cook puts up a bomb. I'm not sure it's quite going to get to the end zone, and it's knocked down wisely by Marbach for the Roughnecks, and that does bring us to halftime, where Dallas has a 16-12 lead. So an exciting back and forth first half. Dallas, though, takes command in the second quarter, and we are going to take a break. We got some highlights coming your way in just a little bit, but we're going to take a break here on the 11 Sports Network. We'll see you in a sec.
Check, 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 check. I got some catastrophic tripod problems that happened in the last 45 seconds, and I can't figure out what's going on, but I've got no control over the stability. It's really weird. So, because I get locked, now I'm locked. I did that too. I was stopped on the camera normally, and then they lost me.
I think you had this tightened all the way, so when you were moving it, you were just doing like unscrewing and screwing it. You know what I mean? Because this was tightened all the way. Well, I mean, it seems like it's working.
That's not because it was.
That was all the way tightened or something.
It's halftime here in Austin, and the Dallas Roughnecks have a 16-12 lead over the Austin Soul. And really, an interesting first half. What is it that about the Dallas offense that really started clicking there in the second quarter? What did you think, Domenica?
I really just think you saw Dallas come into their own and their plays and really see Austin just miss a lot of opportunities. There seemed to be a lot of connections that Dallas was making across the field that we just weren't seeing from the Soul. They seemed to be a lot more confident in their decision makings, and that those hooks that Alex was talking about earlier into the end zone on the right side of your screen, they just seem to float them into the end zone so much better than the Soul. It almost seems like they just know how to deal with this wind better than Austin.
Right. What it really comes down to when you're going to look back at this game is there's been a few of those throws into the end zone where if you had messed up that throw, Austin would have come back and scored, and this would have been a lot closer. There's probably 2 or 3 times where it was really clutch for Dallas where they did what they needed to do and went and put in the score, and that's the reason why they're up by 4 right now, whereas Austin, on a few of those miscues, Dallas immediately punished it.
Well, we're going to see what happens in the second half. Right now, we've got some highlights, the top 10 plays from Week 6 in the AUDL. Enjoy.
Tyler Bacon, and he'll fire long. McDougal in pursuit, more closing quickly. And on the second effort, McDougal hangs
I think McDougal surprised even himself with that second effort attempt.
He's upset. He thought he should have had it
on the first try.
When it gets high, so we see Kelvin can match the Pollock. Cunningham now on the close sideline. Just shoots it deep to Pollock immediately. Pollock's pretty fast. Kelvin right there with them, but you can tell that they practice this throw plenty of times.
Thought about going out to the forehand side. Instead, he'll go strike up the line, lays out, and he makes the catch. Great play from McDonald.
tíos amigos, es eso. Son perros, Growlers. Oh, you got it.
Welcome back. Dallas Roughnecks lead 16-12 here at halftime, just getting ready to start this second half. Charlie Eisenhood joined by Alex Dougal and Dominica Sutherland in the booth. And what's it going to take for Austin to get back into this one? I mean, I think that's the big question for the fans here and for us in the booth. After really, in a game that they seemed extremely competitive in, they suddenly seem to just give away a bunch of points at the end of the second quarter.
Right. Well, I would say they need more Kyle Hickey, so I'm happy to see the coach putting him out there for this starting O-line. But yeah, more seriously, they just need to value every possession they have on offense.
And as you'll see here, the Roughnecks are pulling from
The
back of their own end zone.
Right, they're
so
pretty much in downtown Austin at the moment.
there must have been some kind of penalty that happened during halftime, but no matter what it is, this will get us started, and it will be good field position for Austin, and perhaps they can start things off here in the second half with a quick score. Hammering across for Mathis. And then a pass ahead is dropped. And that's
by Kyle Henke.
My
Henke
man,
just-
Kyle Henke. Too much weight on his shoulders.
And it just went right into the breadbasket, and he just didn't catch it.
Right, it was a wide open undercut.
Hopefully we can see him get it back here on D.
Right.
Oh,
There's an open player, but they couldn't get it to him because the mark was a little too solid. But now they got the give goes flowing.
Dylan Lardberg really doing what he's known for, just that really fast movement across the field.
Larberg firing the flick across the field. And now Roughnecks looking to the end zone, and they've got to score.
And that's a break to start the third quarter.
And that is the last thing that the Austin Soul wanted coming out of halftime, is to continue giving the momentum to Dallas. And they come out, get a D, and score, even with the short field position.
Here you just see that blade across the field from Dylan Lardberg. Set up really nicely to Joel Clutton.
You can see the Austin was running some type of poachy defense. There were a few wide open players. I'm sure they were playing last back, not trying to give up the easy deep throws. But with that being said, Dallas took advantage of the open opportunities and ended up with a pretty easy throw and score in the end zone for the break.
So a great start for the third quarter for the Roughnecks.
Really interesting to see what the Soul comes back with.
Right, well, you can see they're coming out with one of their D lines, even though they're on offense. I imagine just trying to change things up.
Yeah, we've seen this from them a couple times this game as they've tried to staunch the bleeding.
And immediately go deep to Mick Walter. Loses his hat, goes up and gets the score easily.
Just really helps when you're 6+ feet tall.
Yes, it does. John Walter going up to make the catch. And that's exactly what Austin needed.
And you can see him running. Oh, I guess he's getting his hat. But I thought he was running to get back on the line, saying, no, I want more. Keep me in, coach.
There you just see, I mean, he definitely jumps a little bit, but not nearly as much as Ben Lewis trying to get up there and try to D that. Just a really nice put that just gave Mick Walter all the time in the world to bring it down in the end zone.
Yeah, it's not like the other puts we saw to the other side of your screen where they're well placed and away from the defense. That was more of just a 50-50. But when you have the matchup you like in the deep space, somebody like Mick Walter, you're going to take those chances every time.
Roughnecks offense, which was so good in the second quarter, back to work. Malachek, quick under.
Oh, there's an open deep run.
And some contact there, maybe a hand block.
Yeah, that must have been clean because there's no foul call.
Good hand block from Elliot Moore. Another one of those stench bros on this Austin Soul team.
We can see Dallas is not opting to do the double team. They're just going to play straight up.
So great chance for Austin to claw back a break.
Yeah, you would say this is a must-score point for them. Just with the way the momentum's been swinging. There's open deep runs, but they don't like it. They're going to go back through the middle. Jared Wolf, he has the disc now. They have Andrew Walsh in the corner if they can get it to him, but they don't like it.
Elliot Moore drops it back for Starkel. And now they get into the red zone and they get into the end zone. Austin gets a break and they're back within 3.
Two really quick passes right there to get it into the end zone. It almost looked like Elliot Moore had outthrown his intended receiver, but he just runs it down and grabs it. You see Moore there with the disc. Looks like trying to hit Vargas, and Vargas just runs it down, grabs it, and dishes it right into Wolf for the score.
A little bit lucky that the wind didn't take it and put it out of his reach, but he threw it just well enough to be caught and chased down, and Austin did what they needed to do to get back one of the breaks necessary to try and tie this game up.
Yeah, and the break chances they've been there for Austin. They just haven't converted very many of them.
Right, you've seen them not valuing their decision making and getting some easy poached Ds from Dallas on a few of those opportunities.
Roughnecks to midfield. Now looking up the line with the forehand, and a little too much mustard on that one from Wilder.
And that's what I expect most of the time when those throws go up, because that's what I would be doing with this wind. With the wind just blowing it down the field, making it not float very much. That's why I said I was a little bit surprised early on when we saw really high conversion rates on that right side of the field.
Austin with another break chance.
Hopefully looking to see Austin play really kind of conservative ultimate with the disc, trying not to push it too much, because you know they really want these scores more than anything. It may not be a flashy play right now, maybe more so looking to just get the disc in the end zone.
A high stall count throw for Mick Walter. He was very close there. And now Kyle's going to take his chance to that back corner.
Looking for Cecil, and Cecil's in for the score.
And that's 2 breaks in a row for the Soul. Looks like they found some fire in their step, and they're trying to bring it back into this game.
So 4 scores to start the second half, and 3 of them are breaks. Another look at the scoring pass here from Henke. Just leans into that forehand and gets it to Cecil.
And all this goes back to that one D-line they put out there on offense for Austin. That's where this momentum swing started, when they got that D-line out there to get a score. And ever since then, they've just been getting breaks in the past couple of points. Feeling a bit of the energy, feeling the home crowd has been helping them out. And now they have, well, once again, it's kind of a mix-up of lines, because we have Chase Cunningham out there playing defense and Kyle Hinkey staying on the line to play with his buddy Elliot Morris. This is kind of a different D-line they have out there.
Cunningham pulling there and getting a good one to pin Dallas deep in their own end zone even. But now the Roughnecks find some room. They put up the backhand huck. And some contact and a diving catch, and it's in for the score.
You can see Joel Cludden getting tangled up with Chase Cunningham. We were all waiting to see what the call was going to be, but it wasn't necessary, because the Dallas teammate came flying from the back to catch the score in the end zone and stop this momentum swing.
I think if you look at the replay, you'll see this tangle happen, and then almost simultaneously, all of the Austin defenders seemed to stop playing defense because they thought there would be a call. And the Dallas players were like just ready and waiting to get the score instead.
Well, quite a swing there. And a nice job by the referee not blowing the whistle too early, allowing the play to continue to see what would happen. So it was definitely a foul on Austin. An unfortunate one with the tangled feet, but giving the advantage to the offense, and the Dallas comes away with the score. Big gainer to Max Cook for Austin.
We can see a more standard offensive line out there. This must be, what, the 3rd point in the row Chase and Kyle has played, keeping some of their key players out to try and bring the score back.
Pollock bobbles the disc, but manages to hold on, but a whistle. And the disc will come back to Michael Mathis, and he'll get pushed back 10 yards. And he's looking at the refs, trying to figure out why he's being penalized.
If I had to guess, it would have been a pick in the stack, because they're running that vertical stack at the moment. But didn't see the call.
Cook. Backhand up the line. Mathis, nice catch to save possession. Reset to Cook and around to Pollock.
It almost looked like Pollock was looking for that continue with Henke down on the sideline, but just couldn't seem to find a good look.
They're playing conservative at the moment, not risking those 30-yard throws. They're happy to get those 15, 20-yard throws until going this deep shot to Rory Orloff in the deep space.
Mathis looking for Orloff. Everybody's underneath it. It's tipped, and then it's caught. Orloff gets the goal after all that.
Yeah, I'm still speechless right now.
Right, Orloff is one who's not afraid to take the contact.
And that brings it back to a 2-point game. With 7:08 to go, we're going to take a break. Dallas up 2. We'll be back in just a second. Welcome back to House Park Stadium. You're watching 11 Sports Network's live coverage of the Dallas Roughnecks Austin Soul game. The Roughnecks have a 2-point lead here, 7:08 to go in the third. It's been an interesting back and forth game. We saw the Soul take the lead early in the first quarter. The Roughnecks battled back with a 3-0 run to take the lead, and then they built that lead in the second quarter. And they were up at one point by as much as 5, but the Soul have closed the gap as that pull is excellent and goes out in the end zone. And the Roughnecks offense will again be working from deep in their own end.
Really good pressure from the defense right there.
Disc works back through Matt Jackson. Good inside forehand. Now with Malachek. Reset to Dalton Smith. Smith in power position. Looks off the potential deep shot to Frood. Soul doing a good job of slowing down this Roughnecks attack.
Yeah, the downfield defense has really been top-notch. They're not really letting anything off. It's been a lot of the handlers striking back and forth. You see Matt Jackson and Dalton Smith really the ones dominating this point.
And now a shot to the end zone, a turnover, but also a whistle.
Yeah,
So this may come back.
That was a travel call on the throw.
And that should mean a turnover, and this should be Austin Disc. But there is some conversation.
Right, there was an injury sub, Elliot Moore coming out, and so Dallas is also going to take opportunity to take a sub. I believe that's Malachek coming out.
You say Cunningham coming out on the other sideline for Elliot Moore. And I believe they anticipated that coming and wanted a big body on Cunningham to pressure these deep shots.
Right, getting his buddy Joel Cludden back in there. These two have gone against each other a few times.
So another chance for Austin, and they can carve the lead down to 1.
Well, we see 2.
And they're going to try to do it with a big throw, and it's tipped and then dropped. It looked like a golden opportunity for a second effort catch, but it's not to be after Nick Whale cannot come up with it. So the Roughnecks get it back.
Great bit attempt by Paul Starkle right there.
Working. And now a whistle.
It's a foul on the throw.
It'll be 10 yards against Austin. Smith looking deep for Clutton. And Clutton, the bigger man, gets the bigger score, and Dallas goes back up by 3.
This is one of those points that you're going to go back to and say this was very important in deciding who's going to win this game, because there are multiple opportunities for both squads. And Austin really should have caught that deep throw. And right off of that, Dallas comes back and gets the score on it.
Yeah, if you look at the replay here, you just see great body positioning by Clutton, and just Zdrowski just couldn't position up. He was honestly just seeming to try to put pressure on Clutton to see if he would just drop the throw, and Clutton really not phased by him there. He just went up, grabbed it, and got it done.
Yeah, Smith saw one of the biggest guys on the field with some room, and he threw a jump ball up there, and Clutton came down with it. And you're absolutely right, Alex. I mean, that was a point that Austin surely wishes they could get back, as they had a great chance to narrow the lead.
Now they're going to get their offensive line out there. You see Ethan isoed in the middle, and Dallas running through to get the D on it.
And it's been these sequences of poor play from the Soul that seems to have really hurt them as they give the disc away on a short field for Dallas. And a backhand gets them into the end zone. It's a goal. It's back to a 4-point lead as Sam Ward hauls that one in to make it 20-16 Dallas.
Yeah, you saw Carter Hollow with the big run through D on Pollock. to really start that momentum to give them a short field.
And that was on the first pass of that play, or the first real pass to a cutter. And it makes you wonder, I don't think they had to force that throw. He must have looked more open than he was. And then you can see on this replay, Dallas coming in, a bunch of quick throws, quick resets, and an easy strike cut for the score.
You keep seeing glimmers of hope from this Austin team, and it just doesn't seem to be connecting. They seem to have a lot of opportunities. They've gotten the turns on the Dallas O-line, and it's just a matter of getting this D-line to score. And it looks like
Delay of game, I believe, on Dallas.
Yeah, we see the clocks in the stadium at 0, so it will be a short pull from the middle of the end zone this time for the Roughnecks. Last time, they were not phased. Despite pulling out of the back of their own end zone to start the half, they ended up breaking on that point.
And now we see Austin coming out with that D-line they had a little while ago that started the momentum swing, coming out on offense. So we're going to see if they can get the same kind of luck that they had early on.
Dangerous pass, but it's completed. It's into the hands of Brendan Adams. Now near side for Cecil.
easy dish pass to Walsh right there. You see him try to fake that hammer.
Walsh drops it back. Adams with the swing.
No continues for Austin. Really great strike cut. Can't tell this is them being tired or just trying to be consistent.
Lewis looking deep. Cecil drops it. Oh, no defender anywhere near him. He gets two hands on it and he can't bring it down.
We're going to say that the lights got in his eyes on that one. That's why he wasn't able to bring it home. That definitely was a weird throw. It went up there, it was bladey, it was high angle. But with that being said, he should have got that.
I always have coaches tell me you get two hands on it, it's your disc.
And it's just another weird play for Austin. And we're seeing a substitution here for the Roughnecks.
Looks like a double substitution.
Now I think Lardberg had come off the sideline to try to help
just help him
button off the field. We did see Sol make a substitution as well. Brian Grafera is in for the Sol. Oh, it might have been a double substitution. We see Elliot Moore. Oh, Ethan Pollock is now taking one. And Elliot Moore is coming on for him.
So lots of injuries and lots of substitutions.
We see Austin going smaller in the subs that they put on the field, trying to get some more speed matchups to guard these Dallas Roughnecks players.
Feels like a crucial point for Austin.
Right, they keep just getting deeper and deeper in the hole, and at some point it's going to be too deep for them. But I can tell you right now, they still have plenty of time to bring this one back.
Good reset pressure. It's picked off for Callahan. And the crowd goes nuts.
I will say, this Austin team definitely loves a good Callahan.
And that makes it 2017. We're going to take a break. We'll come back and look at a replay of that Callahan in just a moment. I'm going to bring us in with the Callahan. You want to call it? Who caught it? Was it Hinkie?
No, Mick Walter.
Walter.
It's John Walter.
John Walter.
It's Mick Walter.
Okay. Welcome back. We just saw this Callahan from John Walter. Take another look. Dished right to the Austin Souls.
He almost
Walter.
looked surprised when that disc was in his hands. Just
And
standing there in the end zone.
that's a momentum swinging play for sure. Austin back within 3, 2:59 to go here in the third quarter. Roughnecks offense starts with Mechanix centering up.
Right, that last point was
Jackson.
actually an O point for Austin originally, so we're going to see if they can complete the break here on this one. They now have their second D line in there.
Double team on Mechanix, but he gets rid of it. Hammer opens up some room. Jackson all alone. Jackson looking deep. Buckets.
And that's just, Richardson's been doing that all night. He just has been a consistent deep cutter for this Roughnecks team.
As good as the cut was, that throw was even better. Shot straight from the holster, flick, going out, past all the defense and landing right in the perfect spot. And we can see him here. He's got it holstered and just launches it. Hard to tell from this angle, but that is a very far deep flick. Hitting his teammate right in stride, didn't have to jump or go over the defender or anything.
And just when you think Austin had gotten some wind underneath their wings, you just kind of see that play like that, and you wonder if they're really going to bring it back.
All right, they were trapped back in that corner. Dallas was trapped there on pretty much on the end zone, and with one hammer, got it across the field to the other side, which then opened up all the space for that deep throw.
Austin's offense back to work.
Yeah, this is their standard O-line back out there. We see Rory Orloff sprinting down the field, and Mathis doesn't want to give it to him.
Mathis looks to the reset, not there. Dangerous pass, but it's caught. Great hands by Cunningham in traffic. Now Cunningham bounces a pass and just really air bounce it right over Mathis.
Which is pretty impressive going downwind that you can make it sail that high. And he was just trying to throw in a good, solid throw into his teammate and just popped up a bit too much, even for Mathis.
Thought about the double team, looked it off. Roughnecks trying to add to the lead before the end of this third quarter.
We've been seeing these smart poaches from Austin trying to take away the easy undercuts. That's also made them a bit vulnerable with some open players.
Deep shot. Oh, perfect weight out into space, and it gets them down into the red zone. Lots of time on the clock. And 2 dish passes later, and it's a 5-point Dallas lead. Griffin Miller with the goal.
You go from just being down 3 points and getting your D-line out there hoping to get the momentum swing to all of a sudden being down 5 points and receiving the disc with your O-line out there. And Austin Soul going to have to keep trying to claw back.
See the replay here, that flick hook just floated straight out in front of Ben Lewis, and you see him just dish it right off for the easy score to Griffin Miller.
So it's back to a 5-point lead. And every time it looks like Austin might start to claw back, get something going, it's been Dallas with the answers. And this is a tie for their largest lead of the game.
And when you have a consistent deep game like Dallas has had, where you're able to get these easy, highly efficient scores, it makes it a bit simpler for you to stop the momentum and get those points when the other team is trying to claw back. And Austin with another unforced error.
But they managed to take it right back, and that could prove to be an
He wants
important
some
moment.
buckets. He is running down the field real hard.
Gunning down there is Thrower, who just got the block, but he's not rewarded with the huck.
Oh, he's still looking for it. This time they do give it to him. I don't think that's going to stay in bounds.
He's going to have to work, but he's got no chance at that one.
Austin just making simple mistakes on that one. That turnover beforehand just looked like the Austin Soul guy had forgotten who was on his team and just threw it directly to a defender.
Well, and even that deep throw, that wasn't really necessary that they had to do that.
And going over the top, but nice block, good awareness from Brendan Adams to get there. And time ticking down here. About 20 seconds to go in the quarter. Nice break backhand and a good catch on the near side and a hard foul, and that should stop the clock. And I also give a 10-yard penalty. Bit of a cynical foul there on the near sideline from Dallas, but it does give them a chance to set up a double team.
can see Cecil and Mick Walter in the deep space. If they can just get a disc to float in the end zone, they have a very good chance to come down with it.
So with time winding down, they look to the end zone. It's going to be a pile up. Can Austin bring it down? No. Dallas denies it at the buzzer. So that will bring us to the end of the third quarter, where the Dallas Roughnecks have a 22-17 lead. And we are going to take a break. We'll be back for the fourth quarter here on the 11 Sports Network. Welcome back to House Park. The Dallas Roughnecks have rebuilt a 5-point lead as we get set to begin the fourth quarter. Charlie Eisenhood, Alex Dougal, Dominica Sutherland with you in the booth. And it's, we watched the Soul have a chance to cut it down to a 1-point game, and then it felt like a snowball down back to a 5-point lead for the Roughnecks. What happened?
I'm honestly at a loss for words at this point. It just looks like Dallas seems to be better conditioned at this point. They're just running the Soul into the ground. They're creating space, and they're really getting all the throws off that the Soul isn't. A lot of the Soul throws seem to come off really bladey and have been trailing out of bounds. You saw that huck towards the end of the third quarter that was meant for Grafera that just bladed right out. And then you see almost from the same part of the field, you see Ward for the Roughnecks throw the same throw, and it just flattens out into the middle of the field, and it's an easy score for Dallas. So you just kind of have to really wonder what each team is doing outside of these games, and whatever Dallas is doing, it's working.
Alex, do you think there's a mental block here against this Dallas team? Because we've watched Austin take down the Raleigh Flyers, take down the Los Angeles Aviators, and yet they just don't seem like they can take down this Dallas team.
I didn't think I'd be saying this, but we are really missing the likes of Kieran Thomas and Jeff Loscorin and Michael Nadenberg. When you look out there, it's really been the O-line and the consistency for the Austin Soul that's kind of let down the team. Those guys are able to move the disc around 30, 40 times in a point before getting the easy score. And Austin has not really had an offensive possession like that where they've had calm, controlled swings. And they've been really relying on their D-line to go out there and get them the breaks.
Roughnecks trying to add to the lead. Smith. Stall called. So it will be a very short field for the Austin Soul and a great chance at a quarter opening break.
And once again showing you the D-line for Austin are the ones that have been keeping them in this game.
And this low pass is partially blocked. Looks like Dalton Smith got a foot on that.
And now he wants the bookends. He's sprinting down there.
Matt Jackson had it, thought about it.
But a double move, and he's going back deep again.
And it goes over everybody's head except Smith. He hauls it in, and it's a score on the big huck from Malachek. And that could be a dagger. It's a little early in the fourth maybe to say that, but wow, that one hurts if you're Austin.
If you're wondering why Dallas has been in the lead in this game, that point is a classic example of it. You have an opportunity for Austin, a short field opportunity, and combination of a mistake on Austin and a earned turnover for Dallas. Then you see just a clutch performance on the offensive possession for Dallas once they get the disc back.
So Dalton Smith gets bookends, the foot block followed by the double move deep cut, and he wanted that goal and he got it. So it's the largest lead of the game for the Roughnecks at 6, and now it's a long road back for Austin.
Yeah, I think there's been a little bit of question. We talked about it earlier in the game, whether or not this Roughnecks team was going to be as good as they have been in the past without their star players. And I really think this game is showing they have the talent, they have the chemistry, and they want to prove that they're not just those powerhouse names.
Whistle here for a foul on the mark. Some conversation there with Chris Larberg and Kyle Henke. But it looked like a foul. That disc looked like it was still in his hand. So 10-yard penalty goes against the Roughnecks. Henke looking deep, and it's knocked down. And if you're a Dallas fan, you're probably saying disc don't lie.
Yeah, no doubt. I can hear that from Dallas right now. And we can see one of those flicks that in the previous start of the game, they were all going 100%, and now we've seen several turnovers from those flicks going into the right side of your screen.
And Dallas, again, with a chance to build on their lead. Double team. Easily scubered out of. Lewis. Dishes off for Olsen. And it's desperation time for Austin.
You have to imagine that Dallas is content with just draining the clock down, moving the disc around. They don't even really need a score on this point if they can take a solid minute off of the clock.
Carter Hollow throwing out into space. And poor decision to go up the line there from Olsen, as it's a nice layout block from Orloff.
Right, I can't believe I'm seeing this, but that is a layout D from Rory Orloff. Full extension, 2 arms to go and get it. Amazing play.
Michael Mathis.
You can imagine the Austin Soul just really wants this score right now. They're going to try to work it into the end zone. Oh, and just a misread between Chase Cunningham and Kyle Henke.
Right, that's a classic situation where the thrower just wanted that cutter to be there so bad he threw it anyways, even though the cutter was not on the same page. And now they're going to have to play defense again.
Time ticking away, now under 9 minutes to go in the game. Big bid, but Dallas maintains possession.
But now with the turnover.
Right, kind of a forced throw from Dallas. They threw that a lot harder than they needed to, probably because the timing wasn't good. And that decision has not been on par with how Dallas has been playing so far this game.
Cook working in the backfield. Hammer. Henke. Goal. Sold.
Right, that hammer, unguardable, as I like to say. If you're going to fake the hammer, you might as well throw it anyways, and that time they do. And Henke snagging it easily.
Yeah, if you just look at this replay, you can really see why Max Cook has been really commanding this O-line for the Soul tonight. And it's with throws like these. He hasn't even really needed to do that. He's just been pretty much, when you look at the line of the original O-line that generally plays, you have Max Cook, you have Kieran Thomas, you have Natenberg, you have Loscorn. Cook is the only one here tonight, and so he's really trying to take that mentality from the other three that aren't here and really channel it into his play. And he's doing a great job tonight.
Right, makes you wonder if he's doing a few throws he wouldn't normally do because his other buddies aren't out there with him, trying to take control of that O-line.
Malachek marshaling for the Roughnecks.
We're going to see if Austin can play with their hearts a bit more and get a nice D and a break here.
Swing to Smith. Almost a miscommunication there on the reset, but Smith gets it back. Larberg and Smith working together nicely. Malachek into the end zone for Smith. And just quick ping pong movement from Dallas and a smooth score. So that makes it a 6-point lead again for the Dallas Roughnecks. And with 7:53 to go, that's going to bring us to a quick break. We'll be right back.
Daniel was sassy. Said he wished he was here. Daniel and I are friends. Sent text 2 years ago.
Welcome back to House Park Stadium. It's all Roughnecks here in the fourth quarter. 24-18 the score, 7:53 to go, and it's just felt like every time Austin tries to knock on the door, Dallas slams it shut, and they will be pulling here. And a couple more scores from Dallas should do it, but there's still hope with about 8 minutes to go if Austin can get it going in a hurry.
Right, we've seen Austin score 3 points in a row in this game, so they're definitely capable of doing it. But at some point, they're just not going to have enough time left.
Mathis gets the under, finds Pollock. Working nicely on the near sideline. Henke looking deep, quick score. That's exactly what Austin's looking for, and it's a 5-point game.
It's hard to tell if that makes your coach anxious or happy about that decision. That throw coming off like a high school throw, as I imagine we'll see here on the replay.
Yeah, you see Pollock just give that under to Henke, and he just takes that nice flick blade into the end zone. You almost see Mathis kind of like really happy he caught that.
Plenty of room there, though. Henke likes that quick release bladey forehand, and sometimes it works, other times it can bite you.
Right.
It seems to be working for him tonight. I think that's his second assist on that throw.
And now we're going to see if they can complete the break as they come out here in their D-line.
Matt Jackson. Really just a great player. Doesn't necessarily get tons of name recognition, but always seems to be in the right place at the right time for this Roughnecks team.
I mean, he played last season with a cast on. He just is always working for this team. And there's a high stall huck.
And Dalton Smith maybe just waited a second too long to go after that disc. It looked like maybe he was trying to, as we hopefully, it looks like he's got a cramp. He was trying to keep his defender from recognizing that the throw was going to go up, and he waited a beat too long.
You see a little roommate love there from Carlos Vargas. Knows Dalton's been nursing a hamstring injury. It's what kept him out of that Raleigh Flyers game a couple weeks back. So you're just hoping, right now you just see the friendship come out, hoping his roommate's okay.
So many of these players have played together on other teams or just know each other really well, played together in college. It is a friendly rivalry.
You see Dan Emmons hobbling next to him, kind of just like, yeah, man, we're all injured. We all got the same thing.
So checked in for the Saul. Working on the far side. Moore looking for a reset.
He's stuck on the sideline, had to do some crazy moves to get the disc off.
Yeah, he probably got away with a travel, but he didn't get away without giving up the turnover. Now the double team does not stop Malachek from getting the hammer off. And a great throw across the field and into the end zone from Dylan Larberg. And that makes it, again, a 6-point game in Dallas's favor.
You almost wonder what Moore was thinking on that sideline. If the stall's getting high, you might as well just chuck it towards the end zone and hope for the best. It works, I would say, a good amount of the time.
Yeah, you could see from his head movements, he was initially looking downfield. That wasn't open. And then when he looked for the dump, his dump was completely shut down. And at that point, I think the stall count was so high, he didn't have time to switch around and look back in the direction he was originally looking. Had to try to do a high release backhand over the top, and did not work out for him.
And you just saw that replay. Dylan Larberg hitting just a wide open cutter with that bladey flick. that we've seen has been so popular tonight with both of these teams.
Yeah, originally they were doing the floaty out in front flicks going to the right of your screen, but now they seem to both sides like that floaty one. And this time we get a roller pull out of bound middle of the field that Dallas has been doing a few times this game, trying to put on that double team. And Dallas is able to get out, or Austin's able to get out of it back to the middle of the field.
Big bid and a drop, but maybe some contact, and it looked like definitely some frustration from Ethan Pollock on the bid.
Right, I think he's going to argue that he stopped rotation on that first. I'm sure the Dallas player is saying he got in there.
Yeah, that's Chris Larberg on that bid. Both teammates for double wide. Both have a really good communication.
And a whistle. Clock stops at 5:48.
Looks like something happened downfield. 10-yard penalty on the Soul. And there's the hammer again.
Just a monstrous hammer from Max Cook. Drops in for Henke. Henke looking to the end zone. Got it. What a catch and what a couple of throws to set that one up.
It seems to be that Cook has found his stride with that hammer to Henke in the middle of the field.
Is that a coach's input to tell him to throw more hammers, or did Max Cook just realize, oh, hey, I got this trick?
Yeah, if you look at the replay here, you can just see just a great effort by Kyle Henke to read that over his defender and then almost put it a little too much out in space, but Michael Mathis able to track it down in the end zone.
From home, it looks like, how could those defenders not get there? But on the field, when you can see how fast the people are moving, Kyle Henke was able to measure them up and say, oh yeah, Mathis has got this one. I'm just going to put it right on the spot, and we're going to get the score.
Roughnecks O-line has just a bit of work left to do in this game to close it out. Yet another win over the Austin Soul. Beat them earlier this season in Dallas, and looking for a road win tonight.
You're really going to have to see Austin coming running down hard on this pool, try to force a quick turnover, try to get this momentum to swing back on their side. And I guess they're trying to take a page out of Dallas's book and roll this one out onto the sideline. Probably in an attempt to not use as much clock. There's no point in having Dallas work it all the way down the field if they're going to be using an extra minute of clock and doing it.
Double team and hammered out. And now a whistle.
I think he was saying travel on the throw.
Well, that'll send it 10 yards back, and Austin, or 5 yards back, and Austin will set the double team again.
And this time they'll put some pressure on the reset, and this makes it a lot trickier.
And that's a clean hand block.
And yet got another whistle, but that's maybe an inadvertent one, as it's going to be Austin Disc.
Here, exactly what Austin needed, a quick turnover. We're going to see if they can stay clutch and convert on their offensive chance.
Timeouts available. Adams up the sideline to Walter.
Walter looking upfield, finds his bailout Wolf.
Getting pinned a bit on the far side, but Lewis is going to hammer it back to break open the space and drop in a score.
And Austin says apparently hammers are cool now, and they're all throwing them, and it's working out really well for them.
Well, the Roughnecks really selling out to the open side. They got the disc all the way over there, almost got a turnover on the far side, but when you really look to shut down that open side, that opens up that break side space, and the hammer just cuts right through that.
Just a great look from Adams to find Cecil in the end zone. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the past 3 scores, or at least 3 of the past 4 scores from Austin have involved hammers.
Right, either on the final assist or on the hockey assist, there's been a hammer somewhere in there to get the big chunk of yards.
Maybe that's the key to success for this Austin team.
Hey, it worked on my summer league team. I'm sure it can work out here at the professional level.
Another roller pull from Austin.
This one a little bit farther down the field. I don't know if they're going to be able to. Oh, well, the disc.
That's a good one, and referees trying to get another disc into play, but Austin plenty of time to get down there and set up their defense.
Right, and the theory on this once again is try to get that quick turnover.
And they do. Dallas gives it to them right away on the huck. Maybe a little bit of nerves after the double team last point.
And there we go, another
this
hammer.
One into trouble, and Roughnecks take over, and you can see the Roughnecks players saying, calm it down. We don't need to throw it away. We don't need a quick score.
But of course, you have Lardberg on the field, and I don't think he does anything but play fast, aggressive offense.
Under 4 minutes to go in the game. 4-point lead for the Roughnecks.
You see Henry Ferruta back there with the disc, kind of working with Matt Jackson. And of course, that flick blade coming out again.
And into the end zone they go. That makes it a 5-point game. And that's going to bring us to a quick break. Dallas Roughnecks trying to close it out here in the fourth quarter. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
He's got a bunch of band of high schoolers down there working.
I don't know how he manages all these
Welcome back to the 11 Sports Network. Here in House Park Stadium, the Dallas Roughnecks up by 5 with 3:36 to go in the game. It's looking like desperation time for Austin. They're going to need scores, and they're going to need them quickly. And they had a chance to break on that last point, but it went awry, and it seems like there's been one too many of those in this game.
Right. We got to the point where they just threw one too many hammers, which I'm sure for most people is that one hammer, but for Austin, they had a lot of success with them.
Well, they heard what you said about Summer League, and they were rolling with it.
Right.
You just got Max Cook wide open downfield.
And he has to throw it. There's going to be a stall count on it.
Now, there's got to be somebody within a 10-yard box in order for the stall count to initiate. So he doesn't get the stall, and now he puts up the throw anyway because they need something to happen. They got to put the disc into the end zone.
You just get Kyle Hinkey coming down with it, and just an easy dish from Pollock to Orloff for the score for the Soul.
So the offense does its job. Orloff getting the goal. And now the defense is going to have lots of work to do with 3 minutes to go.
Yeah, you see there Kyle Hankey just coming down with that in traffic, dishing it right off to Pollock, who just sees an wide open Orloff in the end zone.
Right, making me a little bit worried with that one-handed snag, with this coming in hot, but Rory Orloff showing how consistent he's been in the past couple of games. He was a huge player in the Raleigh Flyers game, came down with something like 7 scores, super consistent, and so he's showing us again today he's been a big, important part of the offensive line for the Austin Soul.
Roughnecks offensive line looking to finish this one off.
You see the blade out of bounds set again, and here goes the double team for the Austin Soul. You have Cecil and what looks like Jared Wolf, or no, it's, yeah, Jared Wolf in this.
So again, they double team, but the Roughnecks break it open with a hammer.
Now, do they go for the score, or do they try to just drain the clock here?
Certainly no hurry to score, no reason to risk a turnover.
Definitely looks like they're playing a lot more consistent Chile offense than we've seen from them earlier in this game.
Right, they're not going to take those 50-50 deep shots at this point. Looking to just take the easy 10-yard undercuts.
Richardson going every other. Dishes it off.
And you can see why Austin wants to trap them on the sideline, because once you get in the middle of the field, those give-goes are just too strong.
just too much room to work with on both sides. Now looking to the end zone, and it's caught with a flourish.
Carson Wilder coming down with yet another score. He has been a stats machine for this Dallas Roughnecks team over the past couple of games, really making a large impact on both sides of the disc for this team. You see here just a really quick dish and just finds Carson going right over the top of Mick Walter, who is not a short man by any means.
Right. Mick would love to get in there, get that layout D. I guarantee you if he was close enough, he would have seen it flying. You think because he's tall, he's not going to lay out on defense, but he definitely does. That time, not much chance.
It's nice to see some good body control from these young men out here.
And Austin has a lot of really tall, fast players.
So the Soul really just looking to work on their point differential at this point.
Yeah, you can see Dallas with 2 people in the backspace. They're just trying to not give up the easy deep shot, allowing open Carlos Vargas in the wing.
Looks like Dallas is kind of trying to play out a little zone situation. Looks like they've gone man now, though.
Yeah, this is kind of a bend, don't break defense from the Dallas Roughnecks. And it's working for him because there's been at least a minute taken off of this clock for this point.
Time ticking away, double team. Back with Vargas.
Poached Elliott Moore, who looks like he's going to try to strike for the score, and he gets it.
Walsh hits Moore. Austin gets another score, but with just 1:08 to go, it's going to be too little too late for the Soul.
You'd really have to see Dallas making a mistake for Austin to get back in this game.
Yeah, I think at this point, you'd have to see a miracle, really, to happen.
Which
for the Soul
we have seen
We
from
seen
Soul games.
We have seen a miracle, and involved a flying Superman named Kyle Hankey.
We've seen Austin be on both sides of the buzzer beater drama multiple times this season. So I'm sure they would love for this to come down to something close here at the end.
But with a minute, I'm not sure we're going to get lucky enough to see that happen again
Right.
tonight.
And we're going to see the pool going out of bounds once again. The theory on this, trying to get that quick turnover.
The ref was ready for it this time, had a disc
Right.
in his hand.
Right, should have picked the other side.
You definitely see Dallas is really going to work to just do little short passes.
Right, the deep cutters aren't even going out and under. They're just hanging in the deep space to keep the people back there.
And they've got 4 handlers back, almost a triple team there from Austin. And now Malachek loses the disc, but it was a foul. It will be a 10-yard penalty against Austin.
You see Richardson just hanging out in the deep space, even off the screen, just trying to stretch out this zone defense that the Soul is trying to run here. And there goes a scuba across the field.
Doesn't have to be pretty when they're that wide open, so it works out for them. And with this, we're going into the final 30 seconds of the game.
And Dallas just winding out the clock. Ferruta drops it off for Jackson. He goes strike.
And there you're going to see
Another big swing.
Again, not really worried about actually getting the score at this point, just keeping possession of the disc as we come into the final 5 seconds of the game.
And there will not be another throw, and that will do it. Austin goes down at home. The Dallas Roughnecks come away victorious 27-23. And really, it was that run. It really feels like when you look back at it, that run in the second quarter was what really set this win up for Dallas.
Right, Austin had scored 3 points in a row. They were down by 3 points. They were making runs, getting scores, and then Dallas did what they needed to get a score on that long point with multiple turnovers. And Austin never really came back from that.
And the teams shake hands, and it's another win for Dallas over Austin. And it's now 0-2 Austin this season against the Roughnecks, and still Dallas has every single win in this matchup in the team's history. So an important win for Dallas, and Austin dropping back further in standings. And you know, going forward, what do you think this win means for what we expect to see in the playoffs and down the line.
I think this is a really big moment for these teams in the playoffs. You've seen Dallas have a really, I would say, shakier start to the season than we thought. They started off with a win against the Raleigh Flyers in Raleigh, but then kind of didn't really match up to that coming out for the rest of the season. So you really see this Roughnecks team making a staple on what they need to do. And another just unfortunate loss for the Soul. We're going to see them both again in action the weekend of the 19th and the 20th when the Atlanta Hustle, another amazing team in this South Division, comes and does a Texas road trip. So it'll be really interesting to see what happens then.
Well, the Austin Soul moved to 3-3. Dallas moves to 4-1. And that's going to do it for our coverage here. For Dominica Sutherland, Alex Dougal, I'm Charlie Eisenhood. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.